into it. So yeah, we'll just start off with recapping all the games. So we'll start with the Man United versus Fulham game. So when I did the podcast on Thursday, was talking about this game specifically and how like United needed to win this game, like in order to have like I think a decent season. Because if they would have lost to Fulham in your opening game, it would have been like so bad. Because I think Ten Hag is like one loss away from being on the hot seat again, where people are going to start saying like, "Oh, we need to sack him," and all that. The things that I saw was like United looked too like overtly emotional. They would get close and then they would just Casemiro had a couple shots where they just went clear over and he was like yelling, and Bruno Fernandes had like a pretty easy goal. He kicks it way over and they were just all like, and then they would just get pissed. I didn't like that, you know. They didn't seem like in control. They seemed like they got lucky that they got 3 points. The other thing that I didn't like from the Man United game was that they seemed too like isolated. Like when like watching other teams like they weren't passing or they would be selfish and they would try to go for shots when it's like, man, like if you just made one extra pass that could have led to a better scoring opportunity. So like even though they won, and it's a good thing that they won in terms of United's future this season, it wasn't like a convincing win. It wasn't like, it looked like literally up until like they scored that goal, it looked like they were gonna draw to Fulham, and that was not gonna be great.
No, yeah, that's not what we expected from Man U, especially after the whole Man City game.
Yeah,
We thought they
I
were going to
thought
be
that
better.
absolutely. I mean, 3 points is 3 points.
Yeah,
They got Brighton next.
that's going to be
That's
a tougher matchup.
that's not great.
Yeah,
And then they got Liverpool after that, so
yeah,
they needed to get those 3 points because those two games, especially for how those teams look this week, those are gonna be kind of brutal. But I guess speaking of Liverpool,
yeah, for sure.
uh, so we got the Liverpool Ipswich Town game. We live on the East Coast, on the West Coast, so this game came on at 4:30 in the morning, so I didn't watch it.
No, I
Like
didn't watch it
I
either.
figured that wasn't gonna be worth waking up at 4 in the morning. So it seemed like Liverpool just did their thing. You know, the Premier League offices like gave Liverpool like a good little like Kickstarter, especially since they got a new coach and everything. Like this was a good like warm up session,
Yeah,
you know. Like this was never going to be a close game like in a million years. But yeah, Liverpool wins that easily 2-0. Then the next game that came up was the Arsenal Wolverhampton game. I didn't get a chance to watch this because this came on at the same time as the Everton Brighton game, which is the one I watched.
I had trouble finding it because like it was in the morning, right?
Yeah, it
I
was.
actually kind of almost forgot
Yeah, it was
that
like
the games
7
were
in the
early.
morning.
Yeah. And then I was like looking for it, but I ended up watching the highlights. Saka looked great. He gave the first assist to Havertz, a beautiful ball into the box. Havertz finishing it with the head, and then the second goal was Saka. Beautiful goal, first post, near post. He's been looking really good. The team looks pretty good. I do want to go back and look at it because I've been seeing commentaries of like actual fans saying it was a little sloppy, but there was some quality with them.
Yeah, I saw some like extended highlights, and it did look like they got the job done. You know, I think they could have been a little bit more clinical. Especially given the fact that they're supposed to be Premier League title like contenders, you would hope that they'd be more clinical. But I mean, it's hard to say that when they won 2-0. You know what I mean? So like, do I think that's like a fair like criticism? Like maybe, but they still won. They still did it convincingly. There was never a moment where they felt like they were gonna lose the game or draw the game.
Yeah, I thought they looked pretty well. But like I said, I want to watch more. I want to see what people are talking about because I just read like a couple headlines and I don't agree with it. Like I saw the Arsenal fan TV that they were talking about it,
Oh, I
so
didn't
I'm gonna
see
go
any of
back
that.
rewatch that. Yeah, For me, it looked pretty good. Saka looked good. Havertz scoring. I think it's going to be a pretty good season for Arsenal. Hopefully, they win
Well,
it. Hopefully,
they
they close it out. They win all the matches they need to win.
well that's the thing. That's I mean that's what kind of like screwed them last season was those like 4, 5, 6 games, where they're playing against teams way below them and they didn't convert those points. Because you convert any one of those like little losses and they win that year. So they got to make sure like it's fine to lose to like a Liverpool, to a Man City or whatever, but you have to win games against Wolverhamptons or Everton. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like there should be
100%.
no excuses for those. So the game. So then I guess let's see. Yeah, we'll go to the next game, which is the Brighton Everton game. This game I watched. So it was mostly Brighton. They had control most of the game. Some good chances, and even Everton in the beginning of the game had some pretty good opportunities where it was like, oh man, they might score, they might go up 1-0 in the beginning of the game. So Everton has some good chances, and then Brian gets the ball back, and there's this beautiful goal to this guy. I didn't even know who this was. Uh, Mitoma. He's like this Japanese player. And he just scores like a
Oh yeah, yeah,
beautiful goal.
yeah. I think it was last season or 2 seasons ago that he became pretty famous because he made like a thesis in college
Oh, really?
on like yeah about like touches and yeah I think but
And
later
that's
on
what happened.
he
He like bumped it in with the like like tip of his boot, and it was like nice. It was just like right place, right time. Just knew what to do to get it in.
no he's a decent player. He had a couple highlights last season or 2 seasons ago.
What was funny though is right after that goal, because this was played in Everton, uh, in on their field, the crowd goes dead. It is like so quiet. It was actually kind of funny.
And I feel like as a player that feels terrible. I feel like your team is like your crowd is not supporting you.
Yeah,
Like I don't know, it just feels weird because like usually people feed off the energy of the crowd, and if the crowd's not giving you anything, you kind of don't feel like playing anymore.
and then Brian scores like a little. I want to say like in the beginning of the second half, Brian scores another goal from Danny Welbeck, and basically after then it was just game over. Like the Everton gets a red card, and once that red card happens, there was really no reason to watch the rest of that game. A couple podcasts ago, I was talking about how I think Everton might not be in the relegation zone, but after this kind of game, maybe they are that bad. Like- but speaking of bad teams, then we got the Newcastle Southampton game. I didn't. There's another one that was on at the same time as the Everton game, so I didn't watch this either. But I feel like I didn't have to. I think that this scoreboard and the stats kind of speak for themselves. 28 minutes in, Newcastle gets a red card. They got 10 men basically for the whole game, and they still win 1-0.
Oh my god!
They scored in the 45th minute.
And they held them off.
Yeah, and Newcastle had 22% possession.
That's insane.
That's wild. Southampton, it's gonna be a
Did you watch
long
the game?
season. I didn't watch it, but
Oh,
because
you
it was
didn't
on
watch it?
because the Arsenal game, the Everton game, and the Newcastle game were all in the same time. They were all at 7, and I forgot to watch the highlights. But like I said, seeing this stat line, like that's terrible.
Man, we need a business credit card, and we have to buy like 8 monitors. I want to make sure we watch every single game.
Oh, I know. I know. We need a team of like people to watch these games for us.
Exactly. So if you guys want to work for us for free, just fucking
We're
watch the games for us, take notes.
we're open for business. um, but yeah, so that's it. And then we got Nottingham Forest and Bournemouth. I didn't really feel like watching this game. I kind of forgot about it. If I'm being honest, they drew 1-1. Looks like a pretty even game. Not nothing crazy either side.
No, I was saying it's like tough for us on the West Coast of the United States.
Yeah,
Some of these games are like just early. I honestly I don't know what I was looking at, but I thought the game was at 11:30. The Man City Chelsea game.
yeah. Oh,
I think
I
I
thought
saw
so.
the East Coast time. I was like, oh, I have time to sleep in. I have time to review like other games. I wake up, it's like 8:28. I was like, oh fuck, I gotta get ready. Like watch the game.
No, yeah, yeah, because after the Everton game, I had like grocery store shopping and stuff like that to do. So I'm like, okay, well, it's fine. I I knew I was gonna miss the Everton game, or the Nottingham Forest game, and to me that was fine. And it looked like I said, it looks like looking at the stats, 1-1, pretty much even possession from both of them. Nothing really crazy. Um, so yeah, they draw. They're the only ones that drew uh all day basically. Everyone else either won or lost. So that'll take us to the West Ham Aston Villa game. This game is the game that I should have watched instead of the Everton game because this game was actually a really good game. And you said you
It
watched it, right?
was. Yeah, I watched it. Aston Villa looked really good, especially being the away team. It was pretty even for the most part. Onana with a nice header. Aston Villa looked really good. They still look like a pretty top team. West Ham didn't look bad. I just felt like I don't know. I felt like they weren't really clicking super well for me. Yeah, but Aston Villa they look good. I don't know why at the halftime because I felt like Aston was playing better than West Ham. But at halftime, DraftKings had West Ham winning. Well, I guess because they're the home team. But
Really,
I
I didn't
just
know
felt
that.
like yeah, I was watching like the odds and stuff that they were giving in the halftime, and I was like, I don't know why they're giving West Ham advantage.
Especially when they were 1-1 at halftime because you got that penalty that happened, right?
Yeah, it was penalty. Paqueta converted the penalty, but I don't know why. For me, Villa looked way better, connecting way better with each other. Aston Villa, I thought Aston Villa like the only one who played like really well was Kudos on the left side. He was making great passes. He was making great runs. But I don't know. Aston Villa just looked better.
And it was pretty even. Like I'm looking at the stats right here. I mean,
Yeah,
for total shots, West Ham had 14 and Aston Villa had 15. You know,
yeah,
the
3 shots on
possession rate
target.
was yeah, the possession rate was almost even, 52 to 47. So, like they West Ham had like they were basically the whole time until Aston scored in the late in the game. It could have went either way, you know.
Yeah. I'm pretty surprised about the possession though. I don't know why I felt like Aston did better with possession, or I thought they had better more possession. But I guess towards the end, I guess like Aston Villa was holding on the ball, was trying to attack.
But yeah, but Aston wins 2-1. Great game. To me, I think this was probably the game of the week or the weekend. The only other contender I think is the which we're going to talk about right now, which is the Chelsea Man City game. But before we get into that, we got one other game. This game was also very early for us. I didn't get a chance to watch it. I haven't even got a chance to watch the highlights of it. But it was the Brentford Crystal Palace game. It ended 2-1. Brentford take the 3 points. All that was just appetizers for the main event, which was this Chelsea Man City game. Two teams that have high hopes. I mean, Man City, obviously, like, defending champions. They go away to Stamford Bridge against Chelsea, who have a new coach who look like Guardiola's like twin brother, and Chelsea has like a lot of good young players. So it was gonna be interesting to see how they kind of matched up, and I think that this is one of those games where if you just looked at the scoreboard, right, you look at 2-0. Uh, I don't think it tells the full story because Chelsea they looked like they were keeping pace with them basically the whole game up until the last the last goal that Man City scored to put them up 2-0. They were in it the whole time. It looked there was a couple times that Chelsea looked like they were gonna score. They were gonna equalize the game or even take the lead at some points. Uh, so I give kudos to Chelsea and that team.
Yeah, I could see that. And they're a very young team. I was watching the game and they mentioned like the average age was like around 23 point something years old
Oh man,
for the
yeah,
Chelsea
they're
team.
they're babies going up
Yeah,
against
but
a juggernaut.
no, yeah, they did keep pace with them. They held them off for a while until the second score. But I also felt like they are still lacking like experience like in the final third, like about to score. I feel like some of the passes weren't great, but I feel like I don't know if they're watching just this just as a, it's just the first week. We get it. It's just the beginning of the season. But I don't know. You have Aston Villa there, Brighton. Even though they don't have as much talent on paper, I feel like with experience and playing together a little bit more, I feel like they could probably push Chelsea out the top five. I think it's just
They
my
could, it, yeah, and but I also think that
opinion.
from this game that Chelsea looks like they can contend for top four, top five this year, given
Yeah.
how well they did play, even though they did lose. I wrote some notes down while I was watching the game. So for one, Jackson had a terrible offsides. Like if he was like, it looked like 3 inches offsides, and if he was just more disciplined and just pulled himself back just a little bit, he had a nice tap in that would have tied the game. But because he wasn't in proper place, they call offsides, and you know, and it just that sucked. Uh, Also in the very beginning, there was an obvious offsides call from from one of the Chelsea guys. He was like yards away from the line, and it took him like 3 minutes to call it.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I
Like he
saw
was
that
like,
one. I was like, I saw that one. It was insane because they let him play for like 3 minutes
yeah, and he
before
went through
he
like a
wrote.
whole like like uh attacking phase and everything, and then they finally called it, and everyone's like, why call it now? Like,
I saw that the referees had like a briefing this week, from what I've heard during the Aston Villa game, that they're gonna make some changes. They're gonna try to, because also they're talking about natural arm placement for handballs.
and
So
that came into play today too.
yeah, for that the one on Man City.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what they're talking about. They kind of like want to be not as strict like for handballs. I guess like if your arm's like in a natural position and the ball just happens to go there, they're not gonna call it. And I think a lot of the commentators, they want that. They hate when players have to play with their hands behind their back
yeah,
because
because
it just like
it can throw you off, just like like just how you're standing, like
no, yeah,
your
balance and
your
everything is
body,
just weird.
yeah, your body weight and all that, like, and it gives the offense like a huge advantage when you have to play like that. The other thing I have written down is Neto, great signing. Once they put him in the game, Chelsea looked so like it looked like Neto by himself was gonna try to win this game for
Yeah,
a second. Like the first couple minutes he was in, like it seemed like a switch, like right away. Like he comes in the game, he's on the left side of the field, and immediately just starts like trying to make a play.
no, yeah, yeah. Like we talked about, Chelsea, they're young, so I feel like we give them some time. I think they look pretty good. I can see why people are giving them top four, but hopefully they gel.
So this game's happening tomorrow, so we can't talk about it. But it's Leicester City versus Tottenham. Tottenham should easily beat them. This shouldn't really be like an important game or anything. Leicester's a newly promoted team, and Tottenham's supposed to be competing for top four. So this should this shouldn't be a good game. This shouldn't be close.
Yeah,
Tottenham should easily beat them.
yeah. But remember, Leicester City actually won the Premier League not too long ago.
They did, and they still got
So
a homeboy.
Vardy.
Yeah, Jamie Vardy. So who knows, man? Maybe it's the second coming of Vardy.
Yeah, man. Dude is fucking. I heard that he drinks like fucking 20 Red Bulls before a game. Well, not really, but he drinks like a bunch of Red Bulls before a game. Yeah.
Dude, speaking of that, I was watching this video and they were talking about. So like when you see on the sidelines, you see like players like the water boys will give them like it looks like Gatorade or whatever, and like they'll
Yeah.
drink something and then they spit it out.
Yeah.
So I didn't know this, but apparently what it is, it's like this like salt like energy mix that you don't swallow, but you like swish it around your mouth, and it's supposed to like give you like this like boost of energy.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, it was crazy. I saw a video about it. I was like, oh, that's why like you see them spit, like even though like they're drenched in sweat, and you would think like they'd be like drinking
Yeah.
this like water thing, but apparently it's not water or Gatorade or anything. It's like some like solution that like
Oh shit.
absorbs it in your mouth, and it gives you
Yeah.
like energy.
Oh, I didn't know
I
that.
thought that was crazy. Like I was like,
Yeah.
whoa, science.
Yeah, because I know like for runners, like marathon runners, they take those little gel packs to give them a little boost of
Oh yeah.
energy. But I also thought it was like boxers. I thought they always spit it out because you know how in boxing, like you have
Well, you
like
don't want to
water in
feel
your mouth,
weighed
but then you
down.
swish it out. Yeah, you don't want to.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to feel heavy,
Right.
get bloated.
It's kind of like a in hockey. If you ever watch the bench of like hockey teams, uh, they're the ones that will do like the salt smelling salts,
Oh shit.
and they'll take
Yeah.
a whiff of smelling salts because you'll see their head like spring up
Yeah.
when you take a whiff of it. And yeah, apparently stuff like that, like it just gives you this like crazy boost of energy that could, I don't know, possibly win you the game, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, but
And
that's it for week one. So out of all the games that you watched this week, what would you say was like the highlight of this week, or like the game of the week, just
for
like off the
me,
top of your head?
I don't know. The one I saw, the one that actually had me like kind of like really interested was the West Ham Villa game. Like even right now, like I was watching the Man City Chelsea. I was like, they're good, but I wasn't like it didn't feel super close to me. But for me, it was Aston Villa, West Ham. It was an exciting game, close game. That's my game of the week. What about for you?
Honestly, I'm probably gonna go with the same. Like watching this Chelsea game, like in the beginning, even when they went down 1-0, like it still seemed exciting. Like there was a couple chances that they had, and I remember I like, because I'm watching it in my bed, and I like jumped out of my bed when I thought they were gonna equalize when Jackson hit it in, but he was offsides,
Yeah,
and I jumped up because I was like, no way, like they're gonna score on City, like. But in terms of like overall, like from start to finish, like how exciting the match was, I gotta go with the Aston Villa game. Like
no,
underrated
yeah,
match. They we should have we should have known that that was probably gonna be a better game to watch.
yeah. But luckily for me, it was like one of the only games I fucking saw because like I said, like we said like 3 times already on this podcast, man. The West Coast, all the games are super early for us,
Yeah.
but we're gonna try to be better. I'm gonna try to be better. We need sponsorship, so if anyone wants to sponsor us for to watch the
If anyone
games,
wants we do have a donation. Actually, we have a donation link. If
oh
anyone
yeah,
wants to
that's right.
donate so that Alvi can watch the games legally, that'd be great.
So what is it? What is it? Is buy me coffee?
Yeah, buy me
Buymeacoffee.com.
/ to kick off and beyond. All the
Yeah,
proceeds
so
go to Alvi and his living situation.
buy me a streaming service is what we're gonna
Yeah.
fucking call it. But yeah,
So looking at next week's for week two, there's no Friday games, no Monday games. So which means that next week we should be able to review all the games. We got Brian Manchester at 4 in the morning on Saturday.
Oof.
God, kill me. That's gonna suck because I'm gonna have to watch that game. Then we got like, oh my god, like basically all the games are gonna be on at 7 at the same time. So that's the other thing too. We have a Reddit page to kick off and beyond. Reddit. Anyone who listens to this who wants to give us suggestions of what games to watch, especially when it's like this, like all these games are on at the same time. I don't know which which ones are going to be the best to watch. So you got Crystal Palace, West Ham. That could be good. I think that might be a good game. Fulham and Leicester City. I don't know.
oof, Man City.
Oh man, poor Ipswich, man. God, they drew the short straw on this one. They got Liverpool first week, and then they got Man City for the second week. God, that's terrible. I feel so bad for them.
I feel so bad. Yeah, it's
Oh
insane.
my
Someone hates them.
god.
Whoever made the schedule hates them.
They got like a grudge or something. Like just imagine like you spent all these years in the lower leagues, you finally get into the Premier League, and then your first 2 weeks are against literally the top two, like the top teams of the league. That's
Yeah,
terrible.
recent Champions League
Southampton.
winners. Yeah,
Yeah. Oh my
insane.
god. Then you got Southampton, Nottingham Forest. Again, like that's like lower level teams. Tottenham and Everton. I mean, again, Tottenham should easily beat them.
Yeah.
But the late game, Aston Villa Arsenal.
No, that one's for
That's good.
sure.
That's gonna be a good one. Arsenal should beat them, but I can see that going either way. Like,
Yeah, those are predicted to be top 4 teams, so
yeah.
it's gonna be a good match.
And then we got the Sunday games. Let's see, Bournemouth and Newcastle. I don't know. I don't know what to make of Bournemouth. So like, I'm
Yeah,
not sure. Chelsea and Wolves. given how they played against Man City today, they should beat Wolves. But I think it's more even than people might give it credit for.
Yeah, but I want to use this game as like a way to like kind of compare them to Arsenal, since Arsenal just played them. I want to see how Chelsea does against them, so we'll see. I'm gonna try to watch that game.
Yeah, no, I think I want to watch that game too. And then you got Liverpool, Brentford. Liverpool should easily beat them.
Yeah,
Brentford's not anywhere near their caliber. On the Thursday podcast, we'll make our final decisions on what games we're gonna set out to watch. So anyone who has suggestions, whatever, you can reach us at our subreddit. We also have a TikTok page. I don't know how great that is for talking to people, but
yeah,
but we have that.
yeah. Is there a page with a link to all of this, or?
Yeah. So when I upload these, I put the links in the description. So in the description of whatever podcasting platform you're using, if you go in the description of this podcast, you should be able to see the YouTube, the Reddit, and our TikTok page.
But yeah, and also on the Thursday, we're gonna try to talk about the news. I'm gonna keep up to date with the articles, see what's going on. We'll keep you guys informed. Is what we're gonna try to do.
As informed as we can be.
Yeah, we're starting off, but we're gonna try to be better for you guys.
Is there anything else?
No, I think that's pretty much it.